kind of walk us through what happens if you are in a foreclosure.
Yeah. So Iowa is a judicial foreclosure state. So it is a process where sometimes they'll get that first notice that the foreclosure process has started, and people are like, oh no, like it's over. I've got like 30 days to get out. It's a much longer process than that. It usually will take anywhere from 6 to 8 months to a year, even more, depending on who the back end investor is, to actually go through that full foreclosure process. So let's say that that's the direction that things were heading. Stay in the home. Don't. Obviously, if your situation, if it makes sense for you to move. Sometimes people preemptively move, though, and don't realize that if they do stay, it's a value to the bank for you to stay in that home and have the utilities on and be living there instead of abandoning it. And depending on who the mortgage investor was, if you are, so when I get assigned a foreclosure, which is a much smaller segment of the market now, I do probably 2 or 3 a year, where I used to be doing like 70, 80 a year.
Wow.
But my first task is I need to check to see if the home is occupied and report to the bank if it is. And if it is, then they say, okay, here's what you're authorized to negotiate with them as relocation assistance, meaning you get out by this period of time and have it all cleared out of all of your stuff. We will give you a check. And that way, because it's a value for you to clear it out and to be living here during this time. But it's interesting because there's just a lot of fear and shame, and understandably, it happens because there's other chaos that's going on in their lives. Why it got to that point?
Is there any way to stop a foreclosure once this has started happening?
Yeah,
like I can see where somebody might have be going through a time, the emotional or economic crisis that they've allowed this to happen, and all of a sudden their circumstances change. Can you get out of a foreclosure?
Yes,
with the bank?
The first way would be if you had the funds to actually catch up the mortgage, that sort of thing. That happens sometimes. Sometimes a relative will come in, or whatever. A lot of times people can't count on that, but we actually have seen definitely an upswing in our business of short sales. And so a short sale is a way to prevent a foreclosure.
So this is, okay. So walk us through what exactly is a short sale compared to just putting your home on the market and selling it normally.
Well, it's the worst name ever for something because it does not describe it accurately in any way. What is short is it's a short payoff to your mortgage, meaning the mortgage company will accept a payoff less than what your balance is. And they will do that because they kind of weigh out the financial analysis of going through the expense and the timeline and the potential damage to the home of a foreclosure versus taking a short payoff because they know that a foreclosure is imminent. But people think it's a quick process. It's not. It takes a long time. It can take anywhere from 6 to 12 months to go through a short sale.
Can you stay in your home if you decide to go?
You have to.
You have to.
You have to. They want you to be in that home. Required if you have financing that's FHA or USDA conventional. There's some other guidelines, but they want you to keep that property maintained in order to do that. But what we do when there's a short sale is we get an offer. The bank does a valuation, and then they do a calculation of what's acceptable to them for a payoff. It has an effect on the borrower's credit, but it is different than the effect of a foreclosure. It is something that there can be some advantages of kind of your future financial setup if you do a short sale versus going through that entire foreclosure process.
So it will affect your credit, but not a short sale will affect your credit, but not as much as a foreclosure.
Exactly. And you're eligible to purchase using FHA financing or VA financing, USDA government-backed financing. Within 2 years, if you have a short sale, as long as you work on getting your credit improved after that, versus with a foreclosure, it can be 3 to 5 years. And so you can get things back on track more quickly with that. And, I think that what I have found is it also is less traumatizing. Like you put together a deal with the bank that was agreeable to everyone versus being kicked out of your home and it going through the process of the sheriff's office for your county.
Right.
Just all of that. The end result is, I think it just helps. It helps mentally people move on in a more positive way.
And how do you start the process? And I'm sure there might be somebody even listening right now that's thinking, okay, this is an option I need to look at. It sounds much more agreeable than a foreclosure, but I'm now I have to talk to a bank. I have to talk to a realtor. I'm in this I'm in trouble because I can't meet my payment right now.
Right. So I actually work with a short sale specialist company that helps coordinate everything for me. I used to do all of those steps myself, and I found that working with a consultant on it, they just have those strong relationships with the different banks, and then they know as these regulations change constantly, like how to best coach our seller through the situation. You have to have a true financial need. Like it can't be, oh, I just don't want this home anymore, and I don't have enough equity in it. It has to be, I cannot make these payments. You have to provide financial documentation of your situation. Doesn't matter how much money you have in retirement, they do not have the right to say, oh, you need to cash out your 401k and then you're going to be fine. They don't have the right to do that. But they can look at all your other assets and say, okay, obviously your debt to income is not going to support this moving forward. And so, we'll work with you on this.
Right.